Islam is simple and yet very powerful. And it's very simple things that we need to do in order to come together. And in its simplicity, if you go back to the 5 pillars of Islam, in our view, the restoration of zakat plays a crucial point in the reestablishment of Islam as a whole. Zakat has to be collected according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared. It's something that is not open to ijtihad, at least in its basic forms. It's clear what it needs to be done. In the same way, we cannot decide we want to pray 5 rakats in Maghreb because we feel like it, or we think it's more Puritan. You can't, because there are limits. This is all declared. Zakat is the same. It has rules. These rules have overbreached and they need to be brought back into place. Zakat has to be paid to an emir, amirat. This is fundamental. And it has to be paid not in paper money or any debt, what in Arabic called dain. You have to pay it with gold and silver, or merchandise, tangible merchandise. The collection of zakat, according to what is acceptable, is in itself a revolutionary tool. A revolutionary tool that it will change the way the Muslims are and they come together. It will, for example, establish a new currency based on gold and silver, that it will replace the present monetary system, which is a banking system. It's a usurious one. It has to be eliminated in order for us to establish Islam. And again, only if we are capable of these matters of the Deen of Islam in terms of a global transformation, only if we put the priorities of the community before the ones of the individual, and I don't mean the group or the sect, I mean the ummah. If we understand, if our concern is the ummah, if the themes are the restoration of the pillars, if we have an understanding of where to go that reflects the Islamic ethos, then the Muslims will come together, which is that capitalism has an alternative. It has to change. It has to be eliminated. Riba is forbidden. God has forbidden riba, and there is an alternative to it. And that implies a complete social transformation from the level of your daily shopping to the way you relate with our Muslim brothers, to the way we relate with the kafir. The way we buy, the way we sell, the way we make business, the way we invest, all that has to change. That we call muamalat. And the Deen of Islam is muamalat. And the Deen of America, like the Deen of Europe, is not Christianity. That has to be made clear. The only Deen that is today practiced by everybody is capitalism. Capitalism is a religion. It's a religion that it wasn't invented in America, although the Americans did a lot to perfect this system. But it's not theirs. It is rooted on usury. And bringing usury to the exaltation of creating a whole way of life that is capable of eliminating all other religion, eliminating all the normative power of religions, in order to only establish their deen, is the great achievement of America. The money of the Muslims is the dinar and the dirham, which is a gold coin and a silver coin. This is clear in the Quran, it's clear in the Sunnah, it's clear in the history of Islam. The Muslims, as we are rising back again, we will establish the dinar and the dirham. The reality of the dinar and the dirham is inevitable. The Islamic dinar is today, it has been and it will be the currency of the Muslims. It has never been stopped, nobody can abolish it, and the Muslims will establish it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Allah has permitted trade and has forbidden usury. So we have to establish trade. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said 9/10 of the risk of the provision of your wealth comes from trading. So what we have done in this society is to this very important institution that Allah has declared halal, we have declared it haram. So we have forbidden trading and we have allowed usury. And in these circumstances, capitalism will flourish, but it is guaranteed the ruin of the decent people of this world. So, in order to overcome this situation, what we have to be constructive, we have to be pro-trading rather than anti-usury. So we are people who have established the first program of reconstruction of trading. And that means essentially bringing wealth to the community. Is to say to the people, money, this funny piece of paper, is not wealth. People is wealth. We are demonstrating that if we practice the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be wealthier. We will eliminate many of the problems that they are rooted entirely on economical affairs, including unemployment, inflation, employment, and incorporating the modeling of Islam, which is a just system that doesn't have working class, it doesn't have employees, it is based on guilds, on master-apprentice, not employer-employee, guilds, markets, not supermarkets, but markets, with gold and silver coins, without inflation, not paper money, with inflation, with institutions of finance based on kirat, which are not based on collateral or equity, they are, or timing, is based on the justice of the transaction, of participating with somebody else. And this is called kirat. So Islam provides a complete system. A complete system. The zakat has to be collected in what is called in Arabic ayn. Ayn means tangible, merchandise. You can only pay zakat with something tangible. And that means money, which means gold or silver, something that it has a specie in it, a piece of gold, a piece of silver, a cow, livestock of any kind, or merchandise of any kind. But it is forbidden, unacceptable, to make a payment of zakat using what in Arabic is called dain, which means a promise of payment, a liability, a paper money. This is if we consider that paper money has any backup. This is if we are generous enough to consider that paper money is actually a promise of payment, which in fact is not. But this is another consideration. Even if we consider that is actually a valid means of payment, even though it's still not acceptable to pay zakat with it. So while zakat could be calculated on the basis of the paper money that you have, in the sense that it represents wealth, the owing of a debt, with that you can purchase something, you cannot pay with it the zakat, because it's a promise of payment. So in other words, it is allowed for you to have debts and people owing you money, but it's impossible for you to pay the zakat with a debt. So considering that is why from the early days in which paper money was introduced in Islam, when still the Sharia was applied, but paper money was being introduced, we have fatwas from those days saying that zakat cannot be paid with paper money. And there is a famous fatwa from Sheikh Ilish, who was the Maliki Sheikh of Al-Aqsa at the time of Sultan Abd al-Hamid, and he made a famous pronouncement saying that when somebody asked him, can you pay zakat with this paper money? And he said, yes, you can pay zakat with this paper money, but only for the value of the paper, not for the value of what is written in it. Because when you pay zakat with paper money, you are actually paying with the paper, with something tangible, whatever is tangible there. Because the dain, the debt, is not valid as a means of paying zakat. So in other words, what he was saying is that you cannot pay zakat with paper money. Another consideration is that, is paper money acceptable or not? No, paper money is not acceptable in the first place. But it's certainly not acceptable to pay zakat with an instrument which is, according to the Sharia, not acceptable to pay it with. So, what happens with the people who pay zakat with paper money? Oh, everybody is doing it wrong? No, the point is that everybody has to do it right. This is an opportunity to establish something which is crucial to the Deen of Islam on the basis of establishing one pillar of the Sharia. That the basis in which, the legal basis in which paper money is used today to pay zakat is that we are under extreme circumstances. This is in the Deen of Islam is called darura. In the fiqh it's called darura. So you say, I am in the middle of the desert, I'm going to die, and there is one pig there, so you can eat the pig, which is haram to eat, because otherwise I'm going to die. So this extreme necessity is the rule of darura. So what these people are saying is that we are in such situation that we don't have gold and silver, we are forced to use paper.